Well, hey, good morning to all of you this morning, Thursday, May 29th. Man, the month is almost over, almost not yet. It's been a great month, a phenomenal month. It's been a month of good momentum, right? And I'm grateful to be able to share my thoughts around this concept of personal development, personal growth, and tapping into our full potential in order to unlock whatever is next for you. And may I say, I still believe that whatever is next for you is greater than anything that has ever been. You will be amazed by what's transpiring concerning your life once you make a decision and then head in that direction. And so, man, we've had the weekend, we've had holidays. It's like it's been it seemed like it's been a minute, but man, I'm here today. I'm here today to I'm here today to suggest something that most people would suggest the opposite of. And man, my conversation with you today, because this is a conversation, my conversation with you today, is to suggest that you learn the art of asking questions. The art of asking questions. Successful conversations always begin with dynamic questions. And typically, we're told, don't question yourself. And while I understand the premise of that statement, I want to also show us the other side of the coin and show us how sometimes uh, it is actually asking the right questions that leads us to discovering the answers that are already within. All right. Listen, if you've been around this conversation this month, you've heard me say it. If you're just coming into the conversation, you'll hear me say it now. I believe strongly that there is a great need in order for you to increase your self knowledge, your personal awareness. There is a need to ask yourself questions and then answer the questions that you ask yourself. Because typically we're told, talk to yourself, right? And then they say, well, you're okay as long as you don't answer yourself. But no, 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 no. The objective of a question is to get an answer. And for someone who's hearing this, for someone who's literally in this critical moment of your life where you are literally deciding what path you're going to take, you're literally having to make a decision that is going to directly affect your present and your future positions. It's going to be so important that much of who you are is hinging on what decisions you will make. The only guarantee that tomorrow will be better than today is if we start growing today and asking the right questions and then answering those same questions that we ask. Asking the right questions mean this, that I am so fully tapped into becoming aware of who I really am, not who people think I am, not who someone told me I am, but who I honestly and authentically am. That I'm asking questions that are causing and creating moments where I'm really now starting to think through all things me. All right. This is an all things me moment. This is a moment where out of every project that you could find to work on, make sure the one project that you have dedicated the most time to is a project called you. Make sure that the project that you are dedicated to is the project of yourself. And so, my suggestion to you today is to question yourself. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying nor suggesting that you question your ability to do it. That's not the intent for questions. The questions are to come so that you can be aware of your ability. Not so that you can question your ability, but the intent, the goal, the objective of the questions is so that you can be aware of your ability. It's true. It's a true statement. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So asking the right questions is one of the steps towards defining and deciding, man, what it is that you really truly desire. Those values we talk about, those passions that we talked about, those things that you are naturally drawn to, getting to know yourself, reacquainting yourself with yourself. Though all of these things that we've been talking about are really leading up to this moment to where I have to tell you, you need some space. You need some space. You need some time, and you need some space uninterrupted, where there are no distractions, where there it's just you alone by yourself, so that you can dedicate the attention that is needed in order to ask yourself the right questions and answer those questions. Most times people avoid being alone, because being alone, most times it puts you in a place where you start thinking. And the reason why majority of people who are alive have no idea or are not clear on what they desire in life, in any said area of life, is not because they don't want to, but for many it's because they're not affording themselves the space, the head space, the mental space, the emotional space, and yes, even the physical space, in order to be able to dedicate time to asking the right questions, right? And so let me say this, because when it comes down to knowing what you want for you, right, it's a daunting question so many times, especially if you've been living as a people pleaser, especially if you've never really given thought to your own desires, your own abilities, your own aspirations. If you've just been living, you've been kind of living subconsciously through everyone else's goals, and you don't really have any of your own, and you've just been you've been not helping everybody, but you've really just been kind of tagging along with other people's ideas, and you don't really have a plan for your own life. You can have an I don't know moment. And let me say, I don't know. IDK is not it is not the worst thing in the world. It's okay to not know. What's not okay is to stay at I don't know. Did you hear me? It's okay to not know initially, but what's not okay is to stay at I don't know. And there were so many people who, if asked the question, what do you desire? What do you want most out of life? Who could not clearly or adequately or accurately or authentically answer the question. The truth of the matter is, you may start at I don't know. But starting at I don't know is not an issue. It's actually a start. It may not be the start that you thought. It may not even be the start that you desire, but it's a start. And the very beginning of this month, that the goal is not to be perfect, but the goal is to be present. And this conversation requires you get comfortable with being present with yourself. right? And so it requires that you be comfortable with being present with yourself, actively present, fully, completely present in the moment. And nothing and no one else really matters when you start asking yourself these questions. And so, asking the right questions is one of the keys to unlocking that. And starting at I don't know is a good start. Just get started, right? Get started and stay and keep going. Get started and just keep going. Make a decision and head in that direction. And as you're on that journey of self discovery, I have some questions that I would suggest that are a part of a framework to help clarify, right? And really, like, part of my prayer is that where there is confusion, that God would bring clarity. And for the person who's been choosing chaos, that you would no longer choose chaos, but that you would choose clarity. And, identity really stems from a place that really needs clarity, a person who needs clarity. But if you're not seeking clarity, if you're not asking the questions to be clear, because if I'm not clear on something, the only way that I can get clarification is to ask the right questions. So I have three questions today that I suggest that you ask yourself if you're wanting to get clear. And this is not even a want. This is really a need. You need to be clear on who you are before you start trying to figure out what you want to do. You can't put the what before the who. You have to be clear on who you are. And being clear on who you are helps to define and even helps to decide the what. All right. So one question you want that you would ask is, what do I want? What do I want? Right. This is an important question because no one else can really answer that honestly but you. No one can honestly answer what you want for you except you. Now, there are other people who would offer an answer. There are other people who will impose an answer based on what they think you want or based on what they want for you. But at the end of the day, the only way to really get clear is for you to ask yourself, what do I want? Right? What do I want in my in relation to my health? What do I want in relation to relationship, friendship? What do I want in relation to my career? What do I want in relation to my spiritual growth? You have to ask yourself, because remember now, this is not just overall. Sometimes it helps to break it down into the different areas of your life and then compartmentalize and say, hey, all right, now in the area of my health, what do I want? In the area of my career, what do I want? In the area of my finance, what do I want? In the area of my faith, what do I want? As it relates to my future, what do I want? All right. The question is, what do I ask yourself? What do I want in relation to each area of focus in your life? And because this is where you're going to probably start with the I don't know, your initial response. And because remember, you got to do this actively, right? You can't just hear it, but we got to be doers of it as well. And so you're actively with pen and paper or your digital notepad, right? But you're writing this out. What do I want in my health? What do I want in my finance? What do I, right? And as you're writing it out, whatever response comes first, that's what you write. Because the truth of the matter is, it will change. What you want will change. I did a slight case study with some pastors last year, and they didn't know it. They didn't know what I was doing, but I randomly text and ask, and I didn't do it verbally. I text randomly several pastors, and I asked them, what do you need most as a person, as a preacher, and as a pastor? I asked them, it was really random. Like one day, they just got a text from me that says, "Hey, da 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 da," and then, "Hey, got a question. What do you need most?" And I didn't even ask them what do they want. I asked them what do they need. I said, "What do you need most as a person, as a preacher, and then as a pastor?" And so I got a bunch of different responses, but there was this one particular individual who said something that I was not expecting, but when he said it, it just made so much sense. His response was, "I don't know what I need." And he says, "I don't know what I need because I spend my life, the length and breadth of my life, thinking about what other people need." And it was a very vulnerable and honest answer. And so he started at, "I don't know." And he didn't know what he needed because the only needs that he had ever thought about were someone else's. And I'm not advocating selfishness in the context that people use the word selfishness, but there is a need for you to focus on yourself. There is a need for you to know what you need. This is not a want. Being clear about who you are and what you want. It's not a want, it's a need. And so starting with the first question of what do I want? The biggest word in that question is not what, it's not want, it's I. And so remember, successful conversations begin with dynamic questions because asking the right kind of questions are going to drive that conversation. And there's an art to that. And so many times we're talking, but then, we're not talking about anything that matters. And so this self conversation, be comfortable with talking to question yourself, ask yourself, what do I want? Right now, because you're gonna have to take the time to really answer the question based on every particular or individualized area of your own life. And it's okay to start at "I don't know," because "I don't know" is in fact a start. Just asking the question is a start, and then record your first initial thought, response, answer. Write it down because it came out for a reason, right? Don't look for a textbook answer. Give your own real answer, right? All right. And so you may not know precisely what you want, but here's number two. Uh, Question number two is, what do I not want? All right. So question number one is, what do I want? Question number two is, what do I not want? And here's the importance of this. For most people, this becomes the question that really starts unlocking the answers. Why? Because knowing what you don't want is actually a great first step toward clarifying what you do want. Growing up, we call this the process of elimination, right? Sometimes it helps. Elevation starts with elimination. To elevate your self knowledge, to elevate your self awareness, it requires that you eliminate what you do not want. Starting at "I don't know what I want." Okay, well, now let me ask you this. Well, what do you not want? Man, I remember in my days of being single, and people, because I'm a preacher, and everybody said, "Well, you need a first lady." Okay, well, whatever you say. And they, people were like, "Well, what do you want?" And I couldn't really answer what I wanted. But I was Johnny on the spot by saying what I did not want. I knew exactly what I did not want. I mean, listen, I know I couldn't really answer the question. I was slow, and really blank on the "what do you want" question, but I was I would always answer when people will say, "Well, what do you want?" Or what? I would answer what I don't want, what I did not want. And so sometimes the key to unlocking what you want is by clarifying what you do not want, right? Because it's always in there. Remember, the answers are there. This is inner work, and most people don't do this because it requires you to take time with you, and you've spent time, with the spouse. You've spent time, with fam. You've spent time, with everybody else, and then you haven't spent any time with you, growing you. Let's grow you, right? And ask yourself, question yourself, what do I not want? Why? Someone who's making a career path decision, right? Starting out, you may not fully know what you want, but you could say, I know I don't want this. Yeah. And knowing what you don't want can help eliminate you from making decisions that you will having actions that are not aligned with your aspirations. And so question one, ask yourself, what do I want, right? And then question number two is following up and saying, okay, well, what do I not want, right? Because sometimes it's knowing what you don't want that actually unlocks the inner answers to what you do want. And then question number three is, what do I want instead? All right, what do I want? What do I not want? And then what do I want instead? Because when you ask and answer the right questions, if you can determine what you don't want, now here's what's next. The next step, because there's always next steps to this. The next step is, now, based on what I do not want, what do I want instead? So I do not want to have a one-sided relationship. So now what do I want instead? I want mutual accountability, right? I do not want to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day for 40 years and call that a career path. Okay, so what do you want instead? Right, so you want to travel the world. You want to be able to do what you enjoy and make a living that way. All right, so because now you see what's happening as you're asking questions, the right questions, and answering those questions, it starts unlocking what's already inside of you. And so sometimes a question that you should be asking yourself is, what do I want instead? Right? Sometimes you're looking at where you are. You can look at where you are, and please appreciate where you are. Please appreciate who you are now. I know a lot of the talk of the day is about becoming a better version of yourself, right? And I love it. I'm with the talk too. I'm a part of that crew, but I'm also part of one. I'm also that person who's saying, don't diminish nor minimize who you are now, because who you are now is going to hugely affect whoever you become next. Where you are now is a big part of wherever you go from here. Getting there actually starts here. So you got to appreciate here. You got to appreciate the now, and don't be in such a rush to get there and get to what's next that you don't celebrate the person you have become. And I'm excited about who you will be. And, I'm excited that you've always been and you will be. But I need you to make sure that you celebrate the person you have become in light of the person who you used to be, right? But when you're asking these questions, Mary, I mean, you're asking yourself these questions because asking the right questions, it's an art. Why? Because you want to ask questions in these categories. You want to ask interpretive questions. These are questions that have more than one right answer. And only you, there is no right or wrong when it comes to you being honest with you about what you want. or what you do not want and what you want instead, right? I do, if you can clarify what you do not want, it can help you get to what you do want. And sometimes it's through interpretive questions that have more than one right answer. And these these answers are supported by your natural self. Because it'll be what you're drawn to. It'll be what you do, and you do it effortlessly. And when you're doing it, you're in your element, right? So you want interpretive questions. You want subjective questions. Subjective questions. These are questions that are going to make you challenge you, right? These are questions that are going to make you ask yourself, why am I like this? Now that I know I'm this way, and I'm aware that I'm this way, and I acknowledge that I am this way, subjective questions are going to require you to produce information based off your personal opinion, and you're going to have to answer yourself of why you are yourself. And this is good stuff. You want subjective questions, you want interpretive questions, and then you want evaluative questions. Questions that make you evaluate, right? Your beliefs. Evaluate. Now, questions that make you evaluate. Now, let me be clear here, because when I'm saying question yourself, you're literally having a conversation with yourself, and you're getting to the root of the why, right? So one, you're asking, what do I want? And more than likely you may start at, I don't know. But don't stop at I don't know. Because if you stop at I don't know, then somebody else is going to come along and give you something to want. We're either choosing or creating to choose. I don't know. Either one. You're either choosing what someone else wants for you, or you're creating what you want for yourself. But it's the art of asking questions, and not just any questions, but it's the right questions. Question is not, can you do it? The question is, what will it take to get it done? Are you following this art of asking questions? Are you following this question yourself conversation today? Asking the right questions to unlock those answers that are already within. Some people are asking the wrong question. The wrong question is, can you do it? The right question is, what will it take in order for me to get it done? You have the ability. You can achieve it. You can become it. You can do it. But you've got to ask yourself the right questions. And the right question is, what will it require of me in order to accomplish this? What am I going to have to give up for me to go up, right? It's asking the right question. What do I want? Or what do I not want? Or then three, what do I want instead, right? So these are questions that help you answer you, question you, and answer you. You want to really get in your head and really think through all things concerning you, because clarifying what you want starts with knowing who you are. And knowing who you are requires that you give yourself space, and requires that you be open and honest with yourself, and that you ask the right questions, and that you answer those questions. All right. I'm done, but I'm going to give you some of these just to ponder on the way out. Hey, mother, what you could ask yourself, some of these may prompt you to think, and that's what you're going to do. You have to think. You have to think. What would a healthier you look like? What could you achieve if you were healthier? What's one action you can take today that will better your today? All right. What's one change that you could make that will have the biggest impact on who you are? What's one change you can make that would have the biggest impact on your current self? Right? These questions will prompt some thoughts, but if you don't answer these questions, nothing happens. Nothing happens if you don't. So the art of asking is followed up by the art of answering those questions. All right, I'm done. But let's ask the right questions. What do I want, or what do I not want, and then what do I want instead? Ask those questions, and you're going to be on a path towards identifying and clarifying who you are, what you desire, and knowing where you're headed. This is an amazing thing. I'll say this and I'm gone today, but there's an amazing thing. I was in a room full of some amazing guys a few days ago. And one of the guys said, he said, man, and this was a manhood conversation. So he says, man, how many men actually know what's in them? And hearing it made me think, man, how many people, period, really know what's in them? How many people have a plan? How many people are living out a plan, right? And we know it. We quote Jeremiah 29:11. We can quote it. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, right? To give you a future and a hope. Good thoughts are good and not evil. Give you an expected end. And we quote that, and we don't really understand what it truly means to be living out God's plan, right? And knowing that plan, desiring that plan, and following that plan. And again, God is not opposed. Scripture says, God says, whatever you do, submit it to the Lord. Whatever you do, submit it to him, and he will establish it. And so if we're doing this apart from him, then we're doing it wrong. But when we do it with him, then we're doing it right. And then we start asking the right questions. And then we answer those questions. But can I say this today? It's also a good place to say that one of the right questions is to ask God, God, what is your plan? What do you have planned for me? Why did you put me here? Since I'm your idea, what were you thinking? God, what were you thinking when you made me? It's a good question. And the thing I love about God is he will answer. There's a difference between having questions and questioning God. I'm not questioning my existence, but I do have a question, God. I really would like to know, what's your plan? What do you have in place? Years ago, I heard this, I want to be into what God is up to. Whatever God's idea of me is, because it's not was, it still is. Whether I'm living it or not, it still is. And so a part of the art of asking questions, asking the right questions, is going to God and saying, God, I want to be clear on all things me. And so I want to know, what were you thinking when you created me? Ask him and he'll answer. And I promise you, things will start lining up, clearing up, and you'll be able to make a God decision. Sometimes we're making good decisions, but it's better to make a God decision than it is a good decision. Paul wanted to go to one place and preach the gospel. That's a good thing, right? Go preach the gospel whether people have not heard. Man, that's a good thing. But God says, yeah, I'm glad you want to go, but I need you to go where I am assigning you to go, and not just where you want to go. It will be good for you to go there, but it'll be God for you to go here. And so may I suggest that we value a God thing over a good thing. That's it. I'm done. Ask the art of questioning. Ask yourself the right questions. What do I want? What do I not want? And what do I want instead? Answer those questions. Get you some paper and a pen and write it down, list it out, and do the work. All right, that's it. I'm done today. Make today a great day. Make it a great day on purpose. Hey, and listen, if you would do me a favor, help us expand, help us broaden our reach, right, and the scope of our conversation by tagging someone or sharing this with someone. Yeah, Mary, I'm telling you, congratulations on making the decision to do this. Most people don't do it because they'd rather just keep haphazardly winging it. Right now, so many people are alive right now, and they're winging it. And I'm telling you, I don't just get on here and talk this stuff. I practice this stuff because for years we've heard practice what you preach, and my new mantra is preach what you practice. Not practice what you preach, but preach what you practice. The difference is it's already in practice. And so I'm able to preach it. Preach. I'm able to preach it because I practice it. I don't have it close by me, but I have a daily schedule. And on my schedule, I'm writing out my top 3 goals for the day. I'm writing out who I need to reach out to today. I'm writing out what I need to follow up on today. And then my calendar, my schedule is on there. And so I wake and pray. My walk is on that schedule. Whatever my meetings for the day are on that schedule, y'all. And that's never been me before because I'm a very spontaneous person, and I value spontaneity. And so I'm not really a routine person. And so I'm like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, and I didn't come into entrepreneurship and be my own boss to still live on somebody else's schedule. And I do not make a habit of that, but I know that structure is one of the keys to success. And so I structure my schedule. Like people say, hey, are you available at such and such? No, I can't. No, I'm not available then, but I do have this time available, right? And sometimes I may not have nothing going at the time that they want, but just because I'm taking control of my life, I choose what I want, right? I choose. So I am preaching what I practice, and I want to help you the same way that I'm helping myself tap into your full potential and unlock whatever is next for you. And if you don't do it, it will not be done. But I want to help you get clear on who you are, what you want, and so you can head where you are going. All right. God bless you. I see you, DA. God bless you today. Thank you for being on. And listen, the month is almost gone, but almost is not yet. We got a few more days into this thing, and then we'll hear the conclusion of the matter. But let's go and make today a great day. Make it an epic day on purpose, and do your work today of asking yourself the right questions and taking the time to answer those questions. Put you on your schedule. Be fully present in the moment, no distractions, no interruptions, so that you can know and be clear. All right. Till tomorrow, I'll see you.